We will begin with opening statements. Again, candidates have 2 minutes for opening statements. Next, Mayor Jenny Dickey.
Thank you, FHCCA and Chamber and SRP for this great event. I'm Mayor Jenny Dickey, and naturally, I'm happy to be here with you all tonight. My parents moved to Fountain Hills in 1979. They and my siblings and our kids were very deeply involved and are deeply involved and committed to my hometown. Before my dad passed, we had 4 generations of family living here in Fountain Hills. Jim and I love our town, and I ask you to allow me to continue to serve. It's hard to run for office and not sound full of yourself, and that's just the nature of it. I'd really rather just hope that I'm helping to make things a little better, but here we go. My immediate family came in 1983, and we jumped right in, volunteering in activities and committees, even initiating some things that have lasting effects, some of which include my voluntary work at the school board and, of course, on council. This includes incorporation, the preserve, Target, the community center, everything centennial, the botanical garden, the theater, curbside recycling, the skate park, stellar students, school buildings, the Discovery Center, downtown median and paving, sidewalks, and our own Fountain Hills Fire Department. Cultivating trusting relationships outside our borders from my years working for the state and for the U.S. Attorney's Office helped residents and businesses. My other experiences are broad and varied. With my math degree, I've been a banker, I've been a teacher, and I worked for an investment firm. We owned an auto repair shop here. I did the books there and was an accountant for the theater. I did their taxes, I was house manager, and did some singing and dancing sort of. Meanwhile, I had a career, days filled with soccer and graduations, all the stuff. This is to say I have a history of progressive commitment to our hometown, to my family, to your family and friends without aspirations of riches or glory, whether sweeping the Quantus building or holding cases of Pepsi in my Suburban for the theater shows. I've never done anything to make you believe anything different going forward, and I'd be honored to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councilmember Jerry Friedel.
Thank you. I want to thank the FHCCA, Chamber of Commerce, the residents, and my wife for this opportunity to speak here tonight. I have the utmost respect for the other two candidates for their time in office. First, a little bit about my experience. I'm currently in my 4th year as a town council member for the town of Fountain Hills. Prior to that, I had a year on the Strategic Planning Commission for the town of Fountain Hills. I have 40 years experience in banking and finance. I'm the only person on the council right now with that much financial experience. I've not missed a council meeting since 2018, and during that same period of time, I've been in 95% of the planning and zoning meetings. So I know and understand the issues that our town is faced with. My education, I have a degree in finance. It took me 11 years at night to accomplish that. I have a 5-year certificate in financial planning. Both of these were attained at night while working a full-time job. That was not easy. It was a tough road to go through to deal with that, but I bring that same discipline and work ethic to my job as a council member, and I'll continue to do that in my role as mayor of Fountain Hills. As an accomplished triathlete, having completed over 100 triathlons, it helps add to my focus and discipline. I'm fully engaged with the residents and the businesses in this community. During the past several weeks, my wife and I have been to no less than 46 different establishments in this town. To show my commitment to our small businesses, the entire outfit I have on today is purchased locally from our business community in this town. Even my watch, which is from the watch guys at the Fort Gate School. They recently moved, but that's my commitment to our community. These people have reached out to me, spoken to me, and that's the reason I'm running for mayor. I have the time. I consider this my full-time job. It's not a hobby. And to me, I'm not running just to run. I will bring real value to the office of mayor with my experience in budgeting and finance. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the questions portion of the evening. Question number 1. In 2006, the town council annexed 1,276 acres of state trust land into the town of Fountain Hills. The voter-approved general plan calls for this land to be developed to increase population to sustain existing and future commercial businesses. What is your vision for development, and What will you do to work with developers to deliver a project that is suitable for Fountain Hills? We'll start with Councilmember Friedel.
So the vision for that property, 1,276 acres, I think at one time they estimated about 1,500 homes going into that area. I don't know that we have the experience or the people on staff right now to do a master plan on that property, but I think that the town should get interested in finding out if there's a way to have a master plan and have that developed, all set and zoned and parceled out and ready to go for a developer to buy that property and to put homes in there. The thought process going back was that it was a couple $100,000 for each lot to get infrastructure into that area. Not sure if that's still the same today. Money's a lot tighter, interest rates are a lot higher right now. So I don't know realistically if that parcel of property will be developed in our lifetime or not. But I think there's a lot that the town can do to spur that forward by getting that plan set up, work with developers, get some developers in here. We have several that are working in the town right now, and open that up to them and get some experienced people in here to get some answers as to where we can go with that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mayor Dickey.
Thank you. I was so proud to be, one of my first duties when I got on the council was to help annex that property so that it would become part of the town of Fountain Hills. Right now, in order to develop these lots, it's going to be very, very expensive. I think I even heard up to $56,000 a lot. So there's going to be some challenges, whoever comes in there. One of our things that we can do from our side is to have the kind of reputation that will attract developers and investors who would actually want to be in Fountain Hills. And I think that's very important, that they feel that we would be willing to listen and to work with them. Sanitary district had some limits. It was like 1,300 homes and that such. So if there's extra infrastructure that's required, it'll even cost more. Another thing that we should do is make sure that the road, Fountain Hills Boulevard, originally when they were going to do it, they were going to, that was going to be their responsibility to make sure that that road was widened and ready to go for all those extra folks, and to make sure that we do work with those surrounding properties, because they do abut existing neighborhoods right now. So it would be a great opportunity if somebody wanted to try and do that, and I would love to be here if that happens. Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to question number 2. Fountain Hills is one of the safest communities in Arizona and is served by the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. In October of 2023, the Town Council approved an intergovernmental agreement with MCSO extending law enforcement services through June of 2026. The contract has a base value of $6.1 million, provides 18 personnel, as well as necessary supplies, equipment, and vehicles. Do you feel like this contract adequately served the needs of Fountain Hills? And what changes, if any, would you negotiate in future contracts? We will start with Mayor Dickey.
Thank you. Yes, I was very involved with the negotiation of this, as was members of our staff and of the council. The idea that the items that we wanted in this weren't met is really not so. Clearly, if you look at the contract the way it exists, we had several items that we were looking at. One had to do with if there was some absentee or there were some people missing, and the result of that was that we had $722,000 given back to us last time and another couple of $100,000 this time. There was also an audit done, and if you went from what we expect and what they do for us, we could very well end up on the receiving end of that audit, or we did end up on the receiving end of that audit. Another thing that happened was the county does set that budget. The vacancy rate was an issue, and we did a compromise where it went from 90 days to 60 days. Yes, Matrix did say that we should have fewer. We didn't want to go down that far. We compromised. We do not pay for Rio Verde at all. Rio Verde and any place that's unincorporated in Maricopa County pay taxes for law enforcement. Fountain Hills does not, but we do have somebody who's housed in our area, and they always make the calls. We do not pay for that. We agreed on school resource officers. We agreed on the IGA, that there would be dispute resolution, and there's the red light, but just know that this is a very good, and it also went down by 2% this year. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, Councilmember Friedel.
Thank you. This contract's got to be looked at and reworked. We're not getting what we're paying for. Even today, we're still not. I have 2 emails that I've gotten that confirm the fact that we're still covering Rio Verde and Town Verde. They're taking people from our force, our protection, and they're going up there to handle calls. I don't fault them for that. This is not the local deputy's fault. They're working with what they've got. We've got to operate this contract like it's part of our budget, part of our business, and it's got to be better for Fountain Hills. This contract, we did a review on that contract, and there was a shortfall of several $1 million. They gave us back $600K, and then they said they were going to give us a deputy to patrol Rio Verde, Town Verde, and Goldfield Ranch. Well, what's the worst call a deputy can go on? Domestic violence call. They're not going alone. They're taking backup, and they're taking guys from our town. We're still paying for part of that coverage up there. That's got to change. District 7 encompasses all these different towns. Why are we the only one getting a bill for this? It's got to change, and it's got to be written. Contracts have a maturity date for a reason, so that they can be negotiated on behalf of the residents in this town. We can't continue to be having our own safety put at risk. We are a safe town, there's no question about that. We could be safer, and we're paying for coverage that we're not getting. So are we getting what we're paying for? That's the question here. And I don't think we are, so we need some work on that contract.
Thank you. Moving on to question number 3. The Community Economic Development Strategy calls for the creation of a new downtown strategy consistent with current economic trends. Over the past 4 months, town staff has hosted focus group meetings, conducted surveys, and held an open house event to garner feedback from residents about what should be prioritized in the new strategy that will be presented to Town Council later this year. What is your vision for the downtown area, and what will you do to attract new development and businesses? We will start with Councilmember Friedel.
So, the last several years, the town has put $6 million into the downtown area. That came from our economic development, Amanda Jacobs. What our vision is for the downtown area? Look, I've got a list of almost 30 businesses that have gone out of business in recent years in this town. We have to address that and do something to fill vacancies in the downtown area and continue to support the small businesses in this town. Economically, almost 70% is supported by our consumer base. We're sales tax driven town. Roughly 50% of our income is driven from sales tax revenue in this town. When we had COVID money here in this town, we got $11.2 million. You know how much we gave to support our businesses? 2.6%. To me, that's kind of a slap in the face for our business community. I think we need to review our policies, procedures. If that ever happens again, we need to step up to the plate and support our small businesses in this town. And the downtown strategy plan calls for more benches, park-like structures, shade structures along the avenue, and that sort of thing. We've heard from some of the businesses down there that they want to have more entertainment venues down there. So one suggestion might be, let's try closing the avenue once a month and generate some activity in our downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Jenny Dickey.
I appreciate that. I noticed that when we answered the Times question, it was all very similar. So I think we all have a pretty nice vision of what we want to see downtown: shade, lights, Wi-Fi, maybe music. One of the things I'm hoping is that we can get, we talked about this, a pet relief station, so that, you know, when we have our live music and the kids are there and they're sitting on the ground, it'd be great for the turf to be a safe environment for everybody. So I'd like to do that. We were looking at putting a restroom there too, but at this point it's just a little too cost prohibitive, but we're going to put some signage and do some other things. Speaking of signage, we're looking at wayfinding signs, which I think is a good way to help get that whole downtown. I don't think people think of Parkview necessarily or some of those other streets as part of it, but it all is. And if we could get that connectivity going with, you know, something cool, something that makes it the district We're getting that vibe now, we're getting that Friday vibe going on, and some extra events that are going on. The pet show, fashion show was pretty cool. So just things like that keep everybody involved. I'm certainly not hearing or aware that there are people having issues with trying to start their businesses or anything that the town is doing. I just asked somebody about that today, and I found that we're quite satisfactory. So I'm not too concerned about that being the issue. But we have to get residents to live here. We need full-time residents. If you want to be business friendly, you want to get their customers. So it all blends in with development and such. And thank you.
Thank you. Now on to question number 4. Maintenance and repairs of our streets have been underfunded since the town's inception in 1970. There is a projected need of $50 million to fix roads that are in C, D, and F condition. Road conditions will continue to deteriorate if action is not taken, which will result in a higher overall cost to address the problem in the future. The Citizens Advisory on the Streets Committee produced a report in June of 2023 recommending a fix-all-now approach to Town Council. Do you agree with the committee's recommendation? If so, how would you fund it? If not, what alternative strategy would you propose? We'll move on with Mayor Dickey.
Thank you. Just wanted to thank you for pointing out that this has been an ongoing problem ever since the corporation. When we lost our road district, which was a primary property tax, we also had a public safety district, a fire district. So those of us who've lived here a long time paid primary property taxes up until 2001 for the streets that you see in Fountain Hills. So this is something that has been coming for a very long time. In fact, we've had 4 property tax efforts fail. We've had a bond for Saguaro that didn't pass. We had another street bond for Palisades that failed. 3 councils increased sales taxes to partially bridge the gap. And we've tried stormwater fees, which to try to help with that infrastructure. We've tried a lot of different things. And right now, it is absolutely true. After we didn't get this COVID money, we were able to put 5 and 2s. We put, well, even more. We put over $12 million, yes, into the streets. In fact, we used to put an average of about $3 million into the streets, and since I've been mayor, we've been putting $5.2 million into the streets, and we will continue to do that. There are different kinds of bonds that we can look at, but I think that the cuts that we would require to additional $5 million or so for 5 years or so, and all of these can be flexible, but that is too much of a cut to take away from the quality of life for us to think that we can extract that much every year out of the budget. Once we get to that equilibrium, we will be able to maintain the streets with our existing budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me make the same mistake again. Councilmember Friedel.
Thank you. So it depends on whether I agree with the Streets Commission. So let me throw out a couple of ideas. I suggested this the first year I was on the council, taking one road, major road that needs to be repaired in this town and shoving it over into our capital improvement project list. Had we done that 14 years ago, we'd have 14 roads that we don't have to worry about today. Well, maybe not, but you get my point. We could have addressed this a long time ago. Just take one road, make it a capital improvement project. I was glad to hear that we brought it up at least a couple of months ago at a council meeting. I had a couple of other suggestions. I finally got one done. Our HERF funds, highway user funds. We finally got that all dedicated to the streets fund. That should have been done years ago. An additional one that I talked about, we have a sweep from our general fund into the capital improvement project list every year. I suggested that a bigger portion of that go into our streets fund so that we're getting ahead of this a little bit. So will we need to do something different? Perhaps. Will there be a bond? We'll have to look at it and see what the rates are and see what the cost is. But there's ideas out there that we can implement right now that would help shore up some of these roads and get that backlog attended to. It's not going to be easy. We've got tough decisions coming ahead. We don't know what the interest rate market's going to be like, and what funds are going to be available. We're going to lose short-term sales tax revenue in the next year. So all this stuff is going to be factored out, and you're going to need somebody that can make these tough decisions and make these calls that has a financial background. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our final question of the evening is coming up, but first let me remind the audience, if you have additional questions for the candidates after tonight's forum, there's a QR code in the event program that's called Ask the Candidates. If you scan that QR code, we will field the questions and we will email those to the candidates and then they can respond at their discretion. So I just want to remind everyone of that. Now we'll move on to our fifth and final question of the evening, and it may sound familiar because we asked it last week. Why do you want to do this? What skills do you possess that qualifies you for this position? And why do you feel that your presence will benefit the town of Fountain Hills? We will start with Mayor Dickey.
Thank you so much. I think a lot of it is what I've been doing for the last 40 plus years that I've lived here. It's going to be a little bit in my closing, but if we talk about the way this town is, it's a family in my mind. It's been that way until now. Everything I've done has been voluntary, school board, just name it, facilities advisory committee with my sister when the kids were going to school in trailers. So basically I bring a love of the town, a depth of experience, an ability to work across the table with all kinds of people, from U.S. senators to, like I said, sweeping the Kiwanis building and doing all of those things. When we were on those committees and you had deadlines and you were either trying to put a show together or you were helping the PTA or you were at Fountain Fiesta, people relied on you to be there and to care and to do the things that you said you would do. And I've done that since day one, since that first town hall is what they called it instead of strategic plan in 1984, just a couple months after I arrived here. And I've really never stopped since. And like I said, and again, it'll be in the closing statement, but I would love the opportunity to continue serving this town. This town is our hometown. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councilmember Friedel.
Thank you. Why do I want to do this? Look in this room. Every resident in this room is here for a reason, because we all love this town. I get up every morning and I like what we see. I like what we have. I've been a volunteer all my life, very similar to Mayor Dickey. Started out at the YMCA. I was on the board of the YMCA where I came from for 12 years. My wife and I spend so much time out in this community, talking to people, visiting businesses. I want to continue that as mayor of this town. This town is different. We have a unique character. Why do we want to not have that? I can't think of a reason why. We have an opportunity here to make a difference and continue what we have. It's a beautiful place to be. Again, unique, and that's why I want to do this. So I appreciate the fact that I'm able to do it, and I will always be able to do that for our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the question portion of the evening. We will hold applause till the very end, but I do want to take a moment to thank the candidates for participating in tonight's forum and providing informative and thoughtful responses to the questions that we have presented to them. Next, Councilmember Friedel.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. For me, it's easy to remember why I'm here. The 3 E's: experience, education, and engagement. This town is ready for a change in leadership. So what is a good leader? A good leader eliminates fear and doesn't cause it by following the rules and the procedures. A good leader is humble in both victories and defeats. A good leader makes those around them better by bringing everybody together. Thus, they become a better leader. I'm a mayoral candidate because I care about our town. I know I will bring value to the town staff, the council, and the residents serving as mayor of Fountain Hills. My promise to you is transparency, efficiency, effectiveness, and voting based on facts, research, and the desires of the residents, not on how I feel. How do we move forward then as a town council, a town, and a business community? We do that by rebuilding trust, by following the rules and bringing back integrity and transparency, and treating everybody with respect. I will do this by not accepting campaign contributions from companies that have a financial interest in this town, because then you get rid of the appearance of improper influence. I will not allow continued rubber stamping of contracts. Contracts are renewed for a reason and should be properly renegotiated to the best benefit of the town and the residents. I will conduct council business in open sessions, and I will reserve executive sessions for legal and personnel matters. My promise to you is transparency and a review of all ordinances and procedures dealing and affecting our business community. We are ready for this change in Fountain Hills. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mayor Ginny Dickey.
Thank you. At the State of the Town, I said that we were at a crossroads, and I was referring then to what path we might be following to unite our community in good faith. Another choice has started to emerge. Are we content with our median age edging up, embracing that identity, or do we want to welcome a multi-generational populace, and what would that look like? I've been leading a town with high property values, residential infill, new and expanded businesses, and ER, more activities than ever, award-winning parks, and which is known nationally and in Arizona as a very safe community. I'm excited to continue our progress with the economic development strategies in the town, the realtors in the chamber, the Discovery Center, of course, housing inventory, streets, and to work with the schools and our neighboring and regional partners. Our reputation as a destination with spectacular views and wildlife, our outdoor fun, and our hometown charm, close to a metro area is second to none. Should we add even more, maybe some hospitality and entertainment options, and bolster our school district, which is the #1 employer here, for example? I am by nature optimistic. I'm eager to work on projects, and I say yes. I want to preserve our safe and special quality of life, of course, along with a thriving economy and amenities for all ages. These are not mutually exclusive. In fact, there's room for all of us to live in the kind of neighborhoods that suit us. I've demonstrated the ability to work with a variety of viewpoints and shared goals. Councils set policy that our professional staff or experts in their field implement. Our multiple master plans guide our direction. We hire the manager. She hires staff, and we are there to support and defend them. We cannot follow all the recommendations, of course, or anyone's, but you can be sure that they are listened to and carefully considered. Many candidates have stated they love Fountain Hills, myriads of reasons, and again, at the risk of sounding less than humble, I have been mayor for almost 6 years, with additional elected service of 14 years, and decades of volunteerism. We can travel the crossroads together and keep Fountain Hills our star-filled oasis in the Valley of the Sun. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I didn't even invite you to give a round of applause to the candidates. Thank you so much for the thoughtful responses this evening. It is clear that you all love this town very much and want to serve. I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. It is very important to be engaged in local elections. I do want to give another shout out for the Fountain Hills Cultural and Civic Association. If you're not familiar with our organization, check out ilovefountainhills.org. There are over 15 different member programs, of which Civic Affairs is one of them. Again, we've been putting these forums on for over a decade at this point. I now want to welcome Betsy Lavoie to the podium to offer, oh, she's already behind me, to offer some closing remarks on our behalf, and thank you again for coming out this evening.
Questions were not answered tonight. Right in the center of your program is that QR code that Jeff had mentioned. As he stated, all of the questions will be emailed to all of our candidates from last Thursday as well as tonight. We are also going to do a Facebook event where all the questions are posted, and it's at the full discretion of the candidates. If they'd like to answer them, they're not required to do so. We are not going to take questions on that Facebook event. We're only taking questions through the QR code. So I do want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude conclude our 2024 Mayoral Forum. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone here in attendance tonight. This room is very full, and we appreciate your engagement and your commitment to the future of our community. It is truly inspiring. We want to say a very special thank you to our candidates running for mayor for this very special town. We appreciate your willingness to serve, to share your visions and your ideas for our community. It's a testament to your dedication to public service and to our town's continued growth and prosperity. So thank you all very much. And as stated last week, I'm pleased to announce the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors will soon be presenting their legislative report. This comprehensive report is based on interviews with the candidates and the board members, as well as detailed written questionnaires. This report will be published online and will review key issues within our scope of work as the Chamber of Commerce, providing valuable insights and information for our community. Thank you again for being here tonight and for your ongoing support of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, the FHCCA, and the town of Fountain Hills. Together, we are building a brighter future. Thank you.